What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a pretty exciting episode. Any new parts on any new projects are certainly exciting. But today we are directing our focus towards the W210, my new daily driver. Now, not too long ago, I did do an episode on going to pick this car up and show you guys just how good of condition this thing is in. It's got just over 200,000 miles and resembles 20,000 miles. It's incredibly clean, and I've decided to bag it. I know we did a poll on that episode, static or bags. You know we gotta bag that car. It's a Mercedes, it rides phenomenal. I would hate to go to a heavier load spring and go super low static. And then we've kind of thrown all the ride quality out the door, and it is my daily driver. So we are gonna bag this car, not in this episode, but I came home from Florida, not just with the 64 Volkswagen Beetle, but some wheels. Some of you guys may have guessed since we were hanging out with the BC Forged guys, and that's usually where I leave my truck and trailer down there. These were some wheels that my buddy Dan, who is one of the guys that runs BC Forged America, had on the shelf that he had built for another car that he had. They're basically brand new. They should work, but we're not sure yet. So that's what we're doing here today. So not only are we gonna test fit some wheels, we'll get a chance to get it up on the lift and get the factory wheels off and just make sure everything's tight, see what we need to do underneath, aside from suspension. But the most exciting part is we're gonna test fit some pretty sweet wheels. Cross your fingers that they fit, because then we'll get on to ordering tires. I am not kidding you when I tell you that it was in the 20s Fahrenheit this morning down here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is not why I moved to Chattanooga, but here we are. Super cold, 2 days in a row below freezing. It was like 24 degrees this morning, Fahrenheit. That's New Hampshire weather. That's what I moved out of New Hampshire to avoid. But it finally warmed up a little bit, and the shop was so cold all day long that having the door open is actually letting some heat in. So I guess that's a good thing. Oh man, guys, get stoked on this car. Oh, this one's gonna be a good one. Obsidian black, first year of the facelift. Never thought I would like these cars, but the CLK GTR is like my favorite car in the world. And this 210 has a very similar front end, you know, the 4 oval headlights. .210 is on the lift, a couple of the stock wheels off. It is absolutely nuts. Luckily, we have some 12 by 1.5 lug bolts here, and I kind of keep these just as spares for situations like this. These are just like a tuner lug, like a 25 mil shank or so with a key. And now I'll show you guys what I picked up for wheels. All right, guys, as I mentioned, we were at BC. Probably wouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that there were BC wheels coming home with me. I also mentioned that these wheels were on one of Dan's cars. So these were spec built for that car. It was a W123 Mercedes. So we're now going to see how that works. All of our math says they will. We're just worried about the front. We're not sure hub depth, if we're gonna have to remove the center cap because of the bearing cap. This is pre-sealed bearing in the front. And concern for offsets for how wide the fronts are. These are 9.5 in the front, 10 in the rear. We'll talk more about specs here in a second, but we'll get them unboxed and we'll see what we're working with on the actual car. Voila. These are the BC MLEs, and I think these may have been one of the first wheels that BC Forged came out with. It's honestly one of my favorites. You've got kind of like a BBS style mesh motorsport feel to the wheel. This finish is amazing with the silver, like the brushed, cleared silver with the polished lip, black hardware. I mean, the car's black. It's such a perfect setup. Sometimes I don't like black hardware. If he's not on one wheel, he doesn't get the points. I couldn't be more stoked on these. I wish we were in the middle of bagging this car right now because we'd be pulling the springs, pulling the shocks, mounting the wheels up and setting it down and really seeing how everything's going to behave with range of motion for camber, what everything's going to do when it gets set down. Yeah, it's not bad in there. No. It's like a little, you got to get all the dirt out of there. But yeah, that should be easy. The rears are pretty similar. What an awesome color combo for this car, and design as well. A lot of people go with luxury looking wheels. You know, I love a work Emmets. You know, I love like a luxury looking wheel, but these wheels kind of almost give the Mercedes its like motorsport heritage look to them. Right. Dan did a good job of keeping these things in great condition too. Well, I think that hub needs to be like cleaned up just a little bit, but we're on almost all the way in. Oh yeah, we got room. Let me get a couple of these things in. Oh boy. Man. That's gonna be a good look.
Yep.
Like that style of wheel. We got a little bit to go in. We'll get all four on. We'll set it down on blocks. Even though we'll have a lot of wheel gap with stock suspension, we'll get a little bit closer than this. We'll get a better look. But
get an idea of offsets.
Maybe if this comes out, well, hey, this might not have to come out. This might be like that perfect bagged wheel fitment. Because it's got to camber a little bit.
Yeah, it's got a natural camber.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's get this thing tightened up.
Mercedes are notorious for like corroded hubs.
Always.
Yeah.
Like all the old 60s and 70s Mercedes I've had that I've put wheels on. I mean, even OEM wheels. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, we're on. That's all the way in. We got plenty of room. We have a solid inch or more in the back to the front control arm. Oh yeah. The only question is how much camber we'll have as we go down and how close to like the sleeve of the shock or something that we might get to. But I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have plenty of room.
There's a lot of room up in there too.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll reiterate. The plan wasn't to make this a full-blown project that we cut up and like go as low as possible. Although that would be sick. The color combo is so good. The black hardware, the black obsidian. Yeah.
Yep.
Hyped now. Let's go to the front, because the front's where we had all of the questions. It's kind of a high offset. I think it's 18 by 9.5 ET22. I think it's 22. We'll pull one out of the box. We'll find out. Not empty. Also not whatever wheel that is. This is not a Dodge Charger.
Those boxes for like 22s.
They are, yeah. Yep.
Oh, 22s.
Nailed it.
Can't lose the 22s.
All right, fronts. I love that the fronts are a higher offset and have like an obvious staggered look to the rear. The fronts are obvious like smaller lip, and the rears have that dish to them. I think that's the look for sure. I have faith because these things on this car just have to happen.
John needs a new daily.
Yeah, I need another daily.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Is that hub going to be too deep? We should have brake clearance.
Wow.
We didn't knock the center cap out. That's a good sign. This is pretty snug. Whoa. We even got clearance up top. So this is where we were worried about. 9.5 wide. We were afraid that there was going to be too much barrel in for how wide the wheel well was, and we were going to be touching the knuckle. Caliper clears. Man, and look at this. I think we're perfect.
That'll come in a little bit.
Yep. I think this car is going to like change my mind on 210s. Oh, so cool. So good. All right, we'll get the other two on, and we'll set it down on blocks. Even though we're still on stock suspension, we'll get a better idea just looking at the car, just for being stoked on what it's going to look like. All right, front. Man, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's a look. That's like more of a vision though. That's gonna work real well. I think the black hardware just fits so well with the rest of the car. Man, the front's almost perfect. Yes. I think sitting on the sidewall of the tire or fender to lip fitment all around is like the goal for this car. I think that'll look amazing. And that'll keep us from having to go all the way to the ground with a bunch of custom work on top of the Commonwealth control arm kits and whatever we decide to modify from there as far as bag brackets go. The plan is to basically just use a bolt-in system. Use the Commonwealth kit, some universal bags, some shortened shocks, and we're done. And it's still a daily driver and it sits amazing. Could not have been a better idea or a better fit.
Brushed faces is just so good.
I love it so much.
And up close, it's almost like a smoky, cleared kind of finish.
Yep. Not quite machined.
Yep.
Oh, this is going to be sick.
Even the wheels work with like the window tint. Seeing the two together is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just works. The whole package works.
Get stoked on this, guys, because next couple of episodes, we're going to be diving into this. I'm hoping to have everything we need for suspension in the next week, hopefully. So mid-December, we'll be diving into this car, pulling it apart. Going to be using some cool products from Bag Riders, too. We'll talk more about that in a tech episode. Once we get everything in and we'll probably start on management, pull the interior, wire everything, plumb everything, and then we'll move on to the actual hardware. Well, guys, that's about it for this episode. Kind of a filler episode, but a super important one because now we know that these BC MLEs are gonna work on the 210. But now we gotta make a few phone calls and get a few more parts in. We're gonna need shortened shocks. We might have those covered. We're gonna need tires. We'll know better what size tire to run once we get suspension in, but we've got suspension in the bag with Bag Riders and with Commonwealth. Looking forward to working with those guys again on another project. Drop down in the comments below if you know of any W210 body kits that might be still acquirable for this car, because air in these wheels and a body kit would be it'd be hard as nails on this car. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. The channel's been growing lately, and I can't thank you guys enough. I put so much work into this channel and editing the videos and working on merch and designs and all that stuff. So your support is just so greatly appreciated. And all of you guys over on the Patreon, thank you guys so much for all the support there. Also, submail. Use the P.O. Box. I've got the submail P.O. Box down in the video's description below as well. Want to hear from you guys. Send in stuff to the shop. I'd love to start doing monthly submail episodes as well. But get stoked on the 210. This is coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be working on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.